Hi everybody, I am Howard and this is Otter's Retirement Corner. So before you do anything, right now I want you to go in the comment section and tell me whether you think manufacturing jobs, adding them, would be good, bad, or indifferent for the economy. Do we need more manufacturing jobs? I'll wait here for a second, or you can stall the video. Good, bad, or indifferent? What do you think? Don't give me a reason, just good, bad, or indifferent. Okay. Wait, one more. Okay, now you're all done. All right, so before we get into whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, let me show you what the stats really are, because there's a whole lot of misinformation out there, as usual. So we're going to talk about total manufacturing jobs, and I went back to 1979 because that's when they peaked. That's when we had more manufacturing jobs in this country than ever in our history, before or since. 19.6 million jobs. Total jobs in the economy were 90 million. So the manufacturing share, manufacturing jobs are almost 22% of all the jobs in the country. And at the time, that 6 of 79, unemployment was 5.7%. Now, this was the low. This is where they bottomed out. 2010, 11.4 million jobs. We had 130 million jobs in the total economy, so it dropped to 8%. So manufacturing as a share of total employment really plummeted over that period. You know, we're talking 31 years. Went from almost 22% of the total jobs to 8%. That's a clear drop. Unemployment at the time went to 9.9%, so you can kind of see why the total number of jobs dropped so much. All jobs had dropped at that point. So now we come to February 25. Now there's 12.8 million manufacturing jobs. You see in the last 15 years it's come up, but not a whole lot, especially when you consider, total jobs went up to almost 160 million. So now it's an 8.5% share, and we've got current unemployment at 4.1%. So despite the fact that, manufacturing jobs has dropped by almost 7 million, and its share dropped from 22% to 8.5%. Unemployment's actually fallen, is lower in this period. So, it's quite a difference. So clearly people are finding other jobs. Now you can say, okay, those aren't good jobs, they're low paying jobs, they're minimum wage jobs, and some of that is partially true. But the economy makes newer jobs. We are a service economy. We probably always have been, but it really more so now when you look at the percentage of jobs that are manufacturing. We are a service economy. So the other things I want to show you though is from that period 79 to 25, inflation averaged about 3.1%, while wages averaged a gain of about 5.6%. So in real terms, our buying power as a country has grown despite the fact that what we call, those good blue-collar, middle-income wages in manufacturing, even though those jobs have gone away, we've prospered. So we've actually done better without those jobs. We'll talk about some of the ramifications of that, though. The other thing I want to show you is, as a share of real GDP, manufacturing has been in a real steady range this whole time of about 11 or 12% of that total GDP. So what we're saying here is we're doing a whole lot more. We're growing with the economy with a lot fewer people. So, let's get into some of the reasons here, and I'm going to have to use my glasses to read some of my notes here. All right, so why have those jobs gone away? Why have they dropped? The first thing is productivity. Productivity has jumped like threefold since 1979. Why? Robots, computerization, better software packages, automation in total. We're building products without people. And a lot of you will say, well, we want people to have jobs, but as you can see, they found other jobs, and other jobs have come to the fore to replace those manufacturing jobs. One of the bigger reasons, I think automation and robotics has been the biggest reason, but there's also been the transfer of manufacturing overseas. And why has that happened? And it's clearly because it's cheaper. Whether it's a company here that manufactures overseas or companies in other countries manufacturing and sending products here, labor is a lot cheaper in other countries. It could be a third or a quarter of the total price for labor here. And that's why it benefits us as an economy to let those jobs go there, because then those products come back here and they're cheaper than had we manufactured those products here. So it benefits our economy to have our goods made wherever they can be made most cheaply. Now, there's a couple caveats here. You don't want, child labor or slave labor, or really horrible working conditions where these products are made. And you also want to be sure that we don't outsource so much product that something happens as a national security catastrophe, and we can't get those products or those raw materials. So, that's the caveat to all this. If we want certain products to come from outside the country, we have to be sure we have alternate countries to buy those products from. So if we get into a war with somebody or a trade war, we have alternative sources, and we don't lose supply of highly needed goods. So the question now is, and this is sort of the whole point of the video, President Trump has said, as part of this tariff war he wants to have, that one of his many goals is to bring back jobs in manufacturing. Is that, and that's the question at the beginning, is that good? Do we want that to happen? And my contention is we don't need that. If it happens, it happens. If we build our manufacturing base just organically, fine. But do we need to bring those manufacturing plants from other countries back into the U.S.? I think we have plenty of jobs to cover the people we have, with unemployment at 4%. Certainly can always be lower. Certainly there's always people looking for work. Certainly there's always people looking for better jobs and more pay. I understand that. That will never change regardless of what happens. So, sorry. All right, so now you look at, all right, well, these tariffs are on, the prices are higher from products coming from other countries. Will those companies that are manufacturing in other countries move their manufacturing here, or will companies already here expand manufacturing? And the one thing that's going to hold that up more than anything else is uncertainty. Companies do not plan out 2 years, 5 years, 10 years without having a good idea of what the economy may look like. And with tariffs being promised and then unpromised, and they're going to be higher, they're going to be lower, they're not going to be on these goods, they're going to be on these goods, oh, let's switch that around. It's uncertainty. No company is going to make a major move where they have to spend 10 million, 100 million, 200, 500 million dollars to build a factory, supply chain, distribution, whatever it is that they have to put in place, especially, big heavy duty manufacturers, like farm equipment or cars. They're not going to do that. They're simply not going to do that, because they know, after Trump's term, certainly things are going to change, and even many times within Trump's term. So they're not going to want to make that commitment. So I don't think there's any way any company right now looks at these tariffs and sees the higher prices of these other products coming in, which will cause inflation. Let's not beat around the bush there. And they're going to say, okay, we're going to build new plants. What they will do as products come in from overseas and they're at a higher price is they will raise their prices. If they have an opportunity and they have that pricing power, the wise thing for them to do is raise prices. So we're going to not only see it from goods coming in from other countries, but we're going to see it from manufacturers here in the U.S. who have the opportunity to do that. So, let's talk about the trade deficit. Trump likes to say these countries are ripping us off. Canada's ripping us off. Mexico's ripping us off. Why do we have a trade deficit? We are a very large, prosperous country especially when you compare us, our size to Canada, our prosperity to Mexico. We have millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people demanding goods, and we can pay for them and we can afford them. Canada, a much smaller country, cannot demand as many goods, even if they're as prosperous as us. Mexico, which has a large population, smaller than us, but a large population, doesn't have the wealth to buy products from us like we can from them. It's a naturally occurring phenomena. China's a slightly different situation. They have a much larger population, but they don't have anywhere near the personal wealth for personal consumption that people in the U.S. do, and they also put some put some big trade barriers in the way, and whether those are tariffs or not. That's the one country you might want to hit retaliatory tariffs, but that's why we have trade deficits. They're inherent in what our countries separately look like. It's not a bad thing in general that we have a trade deficit. It does lower our GDP. There is an outflow of money, but goods are much cheaper. Again, it holds down inflation. Whether you see high inflation now or 2 years ago or 3 years ago or not, in general, getting those cheaper goods holds down inflation. So, what happens when these tariffs are dropped? Nobody knows. Things will go back to normal. If a Republican wins the next 4 years in office after Trump, will they continue Trump's policies? Who knows? But when these tariffs go away, there's some stickiness to prices. So once U.S. manufacturers see they can get a higher price because the foreign goods are coming in at higher price and those tariffs are dropped, those foreign countries may increase their prices to meet the U.S. company prices. So I'm not totally sure prices will come down. Once those tariffs go away, prices may go back to normal. So is that 6 months, a year? Who knows? So let's talk about manufacturing jobs. What do you think about all this? Do you disagree with me? Do you have other statistics that contradict mine? What's your opinion? What are your questions? Thanks for commenting. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Bye.